Hello and welcome to the Dr. Elisa Show here on the amazing KUHS Denver stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you tuned back in. If you're listening, awesome. If you want to watch live, you can. You can go to Twitter and look at KUHS Denver. You can go to Facebook and check out the Dr. Elisa Show link and be on Facebook. See us live there. You can also go to KUHS Denver, go to the website, and then page down. If you page down just a little bit on the right and the left, you'll see the live stream. So there's lots of ways to watch live. Either way you're doing this, welcome and thank you for joining me. If you're new to the show, oh, how exciting. I mean, that's even better. And, well, I shouldn't say that. I love it if you return, and I love it if it's your first time. The doctor is my doctor in my PhD in psychology. I'm a professional mentor and astrologer after having a career as a geologist and an academic dean. This is my encore after my encore, where I've decided to really just show up as who I am without having to apologize for it. This show is a bit of my experience of life and the way I love to walk through life, a little bit on the loose. So what I do is I bring in guests, people who've inspired me in some way, and today's guest is no exception there. And also we're going to talk some spirituality and some astrology and just a big mixture of something that I hope ignites a renaissance of spirit within you. My goal is that when you're done listening to this show, you have something different you want to explore, a new way of thinking. Maybe you just feel inspired for the next hour to go outside and breathe deeply. Anything. That's my goal. So thank you for joining me. You can find me if you'd like to work with me one-on-one. As I said, I'm a mentor and I use astrology as a way to help. I do couples work where I use a composite chart to try to find the spiritual purpose of a relationship. Individually, I help you find your soul's craving. And you can find me at elisarobin.com. Robin is spelled with a Y. You can find me on Facebook, Elisa Robin. You can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, Elisa Robin. I'm really easy to find. You can also find me on Amazon. My first novel, Way of the Well, is still on Amazon. And yes, the second novel is still in production. Things do take a little longer than you think they will. This one is a spiritual adventure that I have actually built out some workshops on, and I'll be offering those probably in about a month. So that's a bit about me. I do want you to remember that this show is spiritually multilingual. So if I say God and you want to think universal energy, the force, whatever, that's great. If I say meditation and you like the word prayer, go for it. We're talking about the same thing, just make the language work for you. Okay, so enough about me. My guest, it's a great lead-in on some level to my guest. And the reason is that, one, she's amazing. She's this sort of Renaissance woman, and I'm just blown away by her. But also, she wrote this book, and we'll talk about other things, but also this amazing book called Wisdom from a Humble Jellyfish. I don't even remember how I found the book. I probably saw it online somewhere. Checked it out of the library, and my habit is to check things out of the library until I know I want to write in them. And as you can tell from, like if you're watching, I have little notes all through it. And so then I have to buy it. And then I bought 3 for different friends. Somebody who's using the language of science to also talk about self-care. So my guest today is Rani Shah. Rani, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. So, as you know, the theme of the show is igniting and inspiring a renaissance of spirit in others. And you fit this up perfectly because you have a renaissance life. So I'd love it if you could just take us through your journey before the book, maybe, in any order you would like, because your life is amazing. I'm so impressed. Can you just share that with us?
Oh my God. First of all, thanks for the super kind intro. What a day to start. What a way to start a Thursday. But no, thank you. I think before the book, I was actually talking to my parents and with some family members recently, and one of my aunts was like, okay, so what is your work title? I actually don't know what you do. And so I kind of went into this long story about what I do. So by day, I'm a brand marketing manager at a company called Trello. And the way I kind of got there, is also how I kind of got to my book. But I was telling my family, I think a lot of my journey is I'm just really good at failing. Like if there's one thing I know I'm good at, is just messing up and bouncing back. I think that just comes from a lot of different moments in your life where you realize, well, okay, I guess I gotta keep going. And I guess the earliest way I could describe it is just I went to college. I was studying form of engineering, and I tried my best, but it wasn't the greatest. And I struggled. I think after that, a lot of what I was trying was just things until they stuck. And one of those things that stuck was forms of writing and talking to people. And I think that was a big deal for me because I kind of knew what I wasn't great at and I knew what I wasn't enjoying. So it kind of forced me to, out of this necessity, to like push towards what I did enjoy, which I think was this more of a creative and colorful field. And that's something that's really difficult to teach. And I think especially coming from, like, I'm second generation Indian American. And so I think coming from like an immigrant household, like, I mean, it's objectively really difficult. You can't teach creativity, you can just foster it. And I'm lucky that I came from, maybe my parents are both actually incredibly creative, which helps. I think making a career in it, no matter where your background is from, is really difficult to fathom. And so I guess I got lucky in that failing didn't scare me as much as most people. I mean, it stressed me out. It wasn't like I looked forward to it, but I was part of many startups after college, and that eventually got me to living in Seattle for a little bit, where I worked as a marketing manager. Even with an engineering degree, they were like, I think you can use Excel, so you're hired. And that led to me getting laid off at one point. And I was very scared and didn't know what to do, but getting laid off, I think a lot of people have this story where after they lose their jobs, a lot of people, like most people, are like, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. But it's like your excuse to kind of do what you need to do. And you kind of find yourself, because, you know, our jobs can hold us back from what you want to do, but at the same time, we kind of need our jobs. So it's not easy to leave, like, you know, high key, we all need our income. So I think after I lost my job, I just started writing, you know, for fun. So I started First Class News, which is a satire for South Asian American topics. And then that kind of blended into reaching out to other brands and being like, hey, can I write for you? Can you manage your social media? Which eventually blossomed into this urge to move to New York City, where I'm like, if I'm gonna try to write, let me try New York City. You know, I didn't have much to lose. It's not like I just had nothing to lose. I was lucky in that, I guess. And moving to New York, I think everyone's New York story is that your first job and first apartment in New York is just abysmal, but you do it because you just want to make it work. And so I kind of took the first job I could take. Got the first apartment I could take, which, looking back, was one of my best friends, and it was like a super fun time in my life. But definitely have moved on up from a 3-bedroom, like totally like this hilarious apartment. And yeah, I worked in content for a bit, and then I finally landed my dream job, which is where I'm at right now, which is at Trello, and I work in brand and content marketing. And that is actually how my book was kind of created. I wrote a blog post for work, and that caught the attention of a publisher at some point, and it went from there. It just whirlwind. So there is no right way. Just my advice to everyone is take what you can get and run with it.
I love that, and what I love, because so many people see the end result. Oh, she's got a book, and it's really good, and we forget this journey. And you mentioned so many pieces that actually we share that we have in common, and that I think people forget how powerful this is. So I'm second generation American, just like, right, so second generation, family from Russia and Poland, first degree, geology, science, first job, science, got laid off, moved off in a totally different direction. So we have a little bit of, I think there's some resonance there in our lives. And then this yearning actually to embrace creativity. You talk about it actually as also being afraid of it. But let's dig in there a little bit, because one of the things I've learned is that when I'm being really good at being creative, it's a little scary. I'm in the flow, but there's some fear mixed with that, because and I don't know what that is. But does that resonate with you at all, that mixture of like fear and flow and excitement and a little bit of awe all put together?
Yeah, I think for me, it's a lot of excitement whenever I am in that flow. It's just like, it's happening, but it's just, let it go. And then it's really exciting to want to share whatever you're working on. For me, a lot of it is writing. So that's exciting for me. I think the fear personally begins when I haven't started it yet. Like just the fear of beginning it. Like, I need to write this thing. Like, I start like micromanaging like the outline of what I need to write in my mind, because I just so want it to be good. But then after some point, I inevitably come back to the base point, which is everybody's first draft is terrible. As long as it exists is all that matters. And I think, I know that practically, but I still go through that cycle of like, oh my God, I'm gonna start this thing, it's gonna be terrible, people are gonna think I'm weird, it's not gonna be powerful enough. And then I'm like, okay, but like what is the first time, So I think creating, I'm never really scared of it. It's just more of like, I'm scared of starting it. But once I do start it, that instinct kicks in of like, let's just keep going and see where it goes. It's kind of like the whole perfect is the enemy of the good. I love that quote, absolutely. Yeah. Which is like, it's never going to be perfect, but if you start on that, at least it'll be good. And then over time, you can like pick away, whether it's a painting or a piece of writing, or even if you're creating a board game, whatever you're creating, you'll get there. But yeah, personally, starting it, that freaks me out.
It's that blank page that we're looking at, be it a blank canvas or a blank page when we're writing. And thank you for reminding me, because I'm in this editing stage of my second novel, and I'm rereading it, and as I'm third editing cycle, thinking, why did I bother writing this? And like, just keep going. It's okay. One of my mentors said, when you read your book the fourth time through, you're going to think nobody's ever going to like it, and then you're done editing, and you should just publish. That's when you get to there. So it's sort of an interesting way of looking at it. And what I want to do is dig in. I want to talk about your book. There's so many things here. The satire, the brand manager, all of that stuff's amazing. But the book is this interesting mixture of science, biology, psychology, psychological advice, and whimsy. Just fun. The pictures are fun. The stories are fun. And we'll go through them. Did you know you were going to write this? Like, what did you start with?
That's a good question. I started with a blog post that is, I want to pitch Trello's blog, which I manage and my team helps manage, and it's just full of productivity tips and things about our company, but also things about work. And one of my first pieces I was to write for my job was about nature and productivity routines. And that was inspired by me and my manager were like on an office trip, and we're looking at beehives, and she mentioned like, I've always been interested in like bees and how they function. How about that's your first assignment? Like, wow. Talk about like nature, and how it can relate back to productivity. And I'm like, okay, cool. So this prompt was totally, inspired by her. And then after that blog post was written, that topic was perfect for me. I love biology. I love all things zoology and nature. Like, that is definitely like a streak of interest and passion I have. Like, if I have a free moment, I'm probably watching something on Planet Earth. I'm watching Planet Earth or Discovery Channel, like huge interest of mine, like personal interest of mine. So getting to the topic of this book was that blog post. And I think once the idea came into motion of a publisher wants to make this into a book, that is when the heavy duty research kind of plugged in. So it was a lot of it's like the chicken or the egg. Like, did the self-care tip come first, or did the animal research come first? And that's a question I'm asked a lot. So for those of anybody who's unfamiliar with the book, I can talk about an animal and like the biological process they go through. So it could be how hardcore pistol shrimp are. Like, they violently like attack other animals, but they're literally a shrimp. They're really small. Or there's the wood frog that freezes every year. But, like these really cool nature processes that these animals have. So I would kind of have a list of hardcore and incredible animals I would learn about, and then like a list of practical self-care. When I say practical self-care, what I mean is, like, I think when you hear that, people kind of think, I talk about this in the book too, like doing a face mask or a bubble bath or a spa day, like those are great. But self-care personally is also just being like, I'm going to go on a walk today and give myself time. Or maybe you're in an argument with a partner or a roommate or whatever, and like I need to walk away from this argument and like take care of myself for a bit. It's purposely taking steps to make sure that you are mentally, physically, and emotionally in a place you're comfortable with. And I'm not a mental health expert. I'm not really an expert in much, except maybe writing about funny animals. But I just kind of whittled down tips, like things that are, things that kind of do help me. I still struggle with self-care. I'm not like great at it, but it is fun to write about and things I wish I was better at. So it was cool to kind of try to find parallels with like the natural world. It was also kind of hard. Like, when one of my self-care tips is like, fake it till you make it, which
is the octopus. Is that the octopus?
That's the octopus.
That's the octopus. So here's what I want to do, because I want people to get a flavor of your writing, okay? Because it's brilliant and whimsical and inspired. It's all of those things together. And so we're going to move from our academic brains here just a bit. I will say one of the things I want to read is, you say in here, to survive and thrive through multiple generations, all living organisms must possess one essential trait: the ability to properly care for themselves. Okay? So we're going to start there. And then you say that this can be particularly dramatic and colorful. And the octopus, one of my favorite creatures, and so I was wondering where we were going to start. We're definitely going to talk about the wombat. I just want to say that. And if you're listening, if you just tuned in, this is the Dr. Elisa Show on KUHS Denver. And yes, we'll be talking about wombat poop in a minute, so please stay tuned. But right now, we're going to talk about, I'm looking for the octopus. There it is. Okay, so I just love this, okay? An octopus, let me do a little, and then I want you to do most of it, okay? Octopuses, right, is the correct plural, in which you say in your book, and they can change into almost anything and camouflage themselves, and they're way smart. They have a brain at each of the end of those 8 tentacles, right? They got a little tiny brain, so they're just incredibly brilliant. What was your favorite thing about them? Because, well, go ahead. What was because I'm going to read you, actually, I'm going to do it that way. That in here you say that when you're writing this and you're talking about critters, that every time you did that, you tried to envision yourself hanging out with Steve Irwin in some cool forest or accepting the Pulitzer Prize, not stuck at the desk feeling like you forgot English and eating a bowl of cereal, right? And that leads you into the octopus, fake it till you make it, right? So what about the octopus really inspires you? Because this is hysterical.
Oh, that is so kind. Okay, so certain species of octopuses, right, they kind of fall under cephalopods. Each species, first of all, there's hundreds of species of octopus. It's not just every single one you see. But certain species have this ability to change not just shape, but texture and color of their skin. So if you really think about this, it's not just the ability to change the texture and color of your skin, it's having the intelligence of knowing when to do it. So for example, when an octopus is maybe trying to hunt or trying to, run away from a predator, some of them will lay flat on the ocean floor, and their skin color, they will alternate really quickly, so it almost looks like blinking lights, to reflect sun and water on the ocean floor. So if you think about an ocean floor, like it'll be bright and dark because like there's sun and water kind of like reflecting off of each other. They will mimic light patterns to hide. They will also they're also able to change. When you think of an octopus, kind of slippery, kind of like goopy. It's like very a smooth skin type. Some species can actually change their skin texture to becoming really, really rough, and they will actually go into the shape of kelp or coral. Like they will look like a solid object, and so if something comes by them, their videos they'll just like go into a coral reef, and it is undistinguishable for us even to tell that is an octopus. So that just blows my mind to understand what a coral is, and to know that I'm going to mimic that, and when to do it. So that type of intelligence to me is just insane. It's not like they're just changing into a color every time. Like that can be, it's also really impressive, but that's more of like a sensor. Like, okay, you have a sensor, a lot of animals can do that, but they have the foresight to know when and how they want to transform. So that just, I could watch them all day.
I know. There's an octopus TV channel, actually, I think, where you can watch them. And so that fake it till you make it is, so if I'm in the world of coral and I need to look like coral to be okay, then I should look like coral, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
like,
how did you use that? So fake it till you make it.
I basically it was kind of like, okay, this octopus is literally faking what it is at all times in order to literally make it, whether it's running from someone that's going to eat it or trying to get its own food, and that's not too far off from humans. I mean, yeah, we can't change the texture of our skin on the go, but we can change how we dress. We can change our posture. We can change how we speak. There's a lot of studies about, if you just put your hands on your hips and stand confidently, there are changes in your brain chemistry to make you feel more confident. Or if you smile in the mirror, there are actual changes, studies showing that you do reflect a bit more of happiness. Like you can trick yourself into feeling better. And that's not to say like be in denial. Like, it's like, it's okay, embrace being nervous, embrace being anxious at times, but it's just that, what? A lot of us, if not most of us, are faking it till we make it in a lot of situations. So it's okay. I think it's also talking about this phenomenon happens in nature. The octopus is just one of many animals and creatures that does it, but also happens, humans are just animals like the rest of us. We just happen to be a bit more, complicated. But we can fake it till we make it, and that's totally a viable thing to do. And if it's a means of survival, job interview, or again, I'm not saying on your resume, like I even wrote my book, like on your resume, don't pretend like you were, like don't lie on your resume.
Right. Yeah.
But you can fake your confidence if you're feeling a bit down, or you can, you can do it if you think you can. So I do mention imposter syndrome quite a bit. I think that is the scourge of the millennial generation currently.
Which is fascinating, which is a whole other topic about why that is. And especially, I'm looking at chemical engineer, brand manager, start your own satire website, write a book, and yet I get it. I get that sense that we're like, am I always good enough? Am I, did I get there yet? Right? I mean, that thing. But instead of going down that rabbit hole, I want to stay with cephalopods for a minute, and I want you to talk to us about all of our misconceptions about oysters and pearls. Can you do that? Because there's so much stuff in your book that I'm like, really? I had no idea.
Yeah. Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think people perceive pearls. Yes, objectively beautiful. I think they feel like pearls are a thing that oysters just have, right? Like it's just like an oil. It's just you open up an oyster and if you're lucky a pearl shows up. I don't think they realize like pearls are the best way I can describe it, without sounding gross. Pearls are like what acne is for humans. You know, when acne forms on your skin, it's like it's a reaction to dirt, right? It's a reaction to like oil or dirt being stuck in a pore, and like a pimple shows up. An oyster, you know, pearls are oyster pimples, I guess. Basically, when dirt enters an oyster, it needs, you know, it's entering. You know, oyster's a living thing. It has tongues and has reproductive organs, and when something enters an oyster, not meant to be opened up all the way, the oyster's body needs to protect against this dirt or bacteria or foreign substance. And so what it'll do is it will cover this piece of dirt in a protective seal, which basically is the makings of a pearl. And over time, this will just become like a pearl that we are used to seeing, like a roundish, grayish, whitish little thing. And a pearl is just a beautiful thing that is made from a very difficult situation, which is sickness or debris.
Because it can also be that, right? I mean, in your book you say, yes, it can form around a grain of sand, but it can also form because the mantle is been wounded, right? Exactly. So it's an immune response, basically. And it might not be, there may not be a piece of dirt, there might be another kind of wound or piece of damage. Right?
Yeah.
So from a wound, we build something beautiful.
Exactly. And I think, you know, obviously I wish human pimples looked as pretty as pearls, but this was kind of meant more along with like, you know, we just talked about like when you're laid off. I think a lot of people are like, wow, I'm kind of glad that happened. That happens because, you know, we got hurt or we got disappointed along the way, but good things happen after that, you know. And even like when people go through a bad breakup, it's like, oh, then I found the person I was meant to be with. Like, it's a literal sense. It's also from more of a, you know, just like a mentality where it's like, I don't think it's healthy to be like, everything's always going to be okay. It's okay to feel like things are bad, but in nature we see that an immune response to something really difficult or gross can be kind of nice, and that's same with us. It's a lot about the process, like starting a new project, doing anything for the first time, or reacting to something. It's really difficult in a moment, but it can definitely lead to something awesome, right? Like a pearl, whether it's a book or a child or relationship, whatever it is.
I love the analogy, but I also just love the notion that it's not just one thing. It could be a grain of sand. It could be something else. And in our lives, I've been trying to get people through this show to also look at 2020 as, yeah, it was hard on everyone. What was beautiful? What came out of it that might change our world in a lovely way, or that would change your world, our world, you know, my personal world. So that I think that there's another piece of that pearl is pearls of wisdom.
Exactly.
Right? That might look ugly on the surface also, like human acne. I do love that. But, okay, here's the one we got to talk about, just because I said we were going to talk about it, and I know I marked it and I can't find it, but I will. Wombats. I had no idea about wombats. First off, do you have a favorite animal in here, or can I just kind of go through mine?
Oh my god, I love all of them. Go through yours. I love talking about people who are excited about them. I do love all of them.
Okay. So I have the book in front of me, so I'm trying to find the wombat. Oh, there it is. Okay. So first off, I didn't know this mystery about wombats. You want to tell us about the mystery of wombats? And
let's talk about it.
Okay.
So let's talk about what a wombat is, first of all. Okay. It's not a bat. It's not a little thing with wings that flies around.
Right, yeah.
A wombat, if you're familiar with like capybara is, or like, it kind of looks like a beaver, but like without the giant tail. It's like a very large rodent. Like, think like maybe like a corgi. Like it's like a dog-sized rodent.
Yeah, it's a big size rodent, right?
Yeah. And then they're kind of round and kind of cute. The interesting thing about wombats that's like stumped scientists literally like until the last 3 or 4 years. Right. This is a very recent development.
Right.
Was that when wombats poop, you know, when you think about animal poop, which is a lovely image for today, it's kind of just like kind of amorph. It's poop. Like, you don't think much of it. It's just gross and you avoid it. Wombat poop looks like dice. It is perfectly cubical.
Crazy.
Which is very confusing because, like, someone touched this? Who is tinkering with this? It's very confusing. And so, literally, and I'm telling you, everyone right now, if you're free, Google wombat poop, go to Google Images. It is literally cubical. Like, it looks like little pieces of dice. And so, at first, scientists were like, okay, maybe their rectum, like maybe there's like, you know, when you're printing something, maybe it's square, maybe their butt is square.
Right, yeah.
But that's not what it was.
Okay. I can sort of imagine them checking this out, right? Like scientists like,
yeah, like how do you find this out?
Yeah.
Like, and also ethically, like you can't just like capture a wombat. Like you have to like ethically research this. And so the team that ended up figuring this out, they, you know, sadly they saw a wombat that was killed as a roadkill, and they decided to take it and study it. And what they found was that, you know, for any animal that produces waste, it goes to like some sort of intestine situation, and your intestines shape it, including humans, right? Our intestines are like long and circular. Human waste is typically that same shape. Wombat intestines are not cubical, but the way they digest food, it compacts their waste in a cubical way. So it stretches and extends in a way that in some way or form creates a cube. And the whole analogy of this was, you know, not to be crude, like, you know, everybody shits, everybody poops, it happens. It's the way you shape it that makes it special. And this was like the funniest one. I'm like, this is like the most hilarious thing. Why is it self-care? Why are we talking about poop? I think this is because it goes back to imposter syndrome a bit, where it's like, you know what, like what you create, the way you shape your idea is what's going to take you, it's your experiences, your flair, your perspective is really what's going to tell this apart from somebody else doing it. Wombat poop isn't special. It is still poop, still smells like poop, still probably feels like poop, but it looks cool, so we're talking about it. That could be your idea. It could just be a normal idea. It's about how you want to shape it. It's how you shape it with your own flair. And so, bit of a stretch, and I will admit that I had to talk about the wombat. So, always, everyone's Google it.
I actually love how you get there, because what you say is, we often hear that brilliant minds change the world with one idea. Or some people are just born creative. But this is it's debilitating to think that way. Research has shown us over and over again that creativity is developed over time, and it's not unique to certain individuals. And so so you made this great point, right? What makes my idea different is that I shape it, and I own it, and I make it mine, right? Because on some level, this book, I could say, well, it's an interesting biology book, but it's whimsical and adorable and self-help. So I think you did a great job with wombat poop. I just have to say.
I think the wombats also did a great job.
I think the wombats did a great job too. Absolutely. Is there? I don't know that I mean, I love all of these, but is there one that you'd like to talk about?
I think the avocado is really cool.
Oh my gosh, the avocado. Yes, I have that one marked. Tell us about the avocado, because that one's amazing.
This one was fun because when I was writing this book, my editors and publishers were like, you should include more plants. I'm like, that's a great point. And that was really fun. Especially my family, we had a flower store for about 10 years. My mom still has this, like, you know, photographic memory of like plants and trees. Like she just can like name the species of plants anywhere. And so researching plants is really fun for me. It's like a personal tie. But the avocado, you're all very used to it. It's not just for toast, haha. Avocados were not really meant to be around in this day and age. Like they are one of those crops that because humans kind of began cultivating them, we have farms of them now. So avocado pits, you know, if you're familiar with avocado pits, it's a humongous seed.
Right,
It is not small.
Right.
Like, we can't swallow it. A lot of animals can't swallow that. It's humongous. So in, like, you know, with the prehistoric ages. Avocados were around at that time. At that time, they were like mega mammals type of things. They were giant sloths, like the size of grizzly bears, and they're now extinct. But those animals, like of that size, who were in the climates where avocados were being grown. So I'm talking like warm climates, right? And at the time, also, if we're talking about geology,
right.
Things were different, like Pangea, the modern day Mexico, maybe touching modern day Africa, things like that. So warm climates had avocado trees, but those warm climates also had large mammals. Those mammals were big enough to eat an avocado. We're going to talk about poop again. Have the seed, poop it out, and that's how a new tree would manifest, right? But, as the years went on evolutionarily, like animals got smaller, and there weren't animals to do that. You can, even if an avocado falls, it's too shaded under those trees, so a new tree can't form. So it's like, how did they shouldn't have survived, to be honest, once mammals were small. The way they survived is because humans began making them into crops, began cultivating them. So avocados are now here today because we took control of what we wanted. We took control of the situation. We changed the environment it was in. And we're like, okay, we're going to have avocados. Because for all intents and purposes, this should be extinct. And I tie that back into changing your environment can completely change your future. And I mean this in a very literal sense. Whether it's, most of us working from home right now. I think we've all gone through the thing of like, this desk is too stressful, this house is too stressful, I need to change environment. So you go somewhere else to work. But also on a bigger scale, moving cities, moving anywhere. The people around you do shape you. The energy around you does shape you, which is very vague. When I say energy, it's just like, are you around negative people? Are you around overly positive people? Are you around people who inspire you? So I think just make like the avocado, find a place where you can thrive. And for avocados, it was with humans.
Right.
So one of the few things we did right.
One of the few, right? I love how you say it in here. You may or may not thrive depending on your environment. And so either way, right, a change in environment can spell the difference between growth and extinction. And I love that. So if you've just joined us, you've missed a great first half hour. This is the Dr. Elisa Show on KUHS Denver, The Stream, with me, Elisa, my amazing guest, Rani Shah, who wrote Wisdom of a Humble Jellyfish. And we've been talking about the book. We're going to talk about some other great things. But this is a book that if you need a gift for somebody, this is the book you should get. I have bought already 3 or 4 copies and given them out to friends and recommended them. It's an easy read, but it's scientific, it's psychological, and it's whimsical, all tied together, and I adore it, and I get to talk to this wonderful author. So Rani, I want to do a little bit of a shift, okay? Great book, great life, right? There's something else you say in here, and you do some pieces of advice. And I think maybe those are an outgrowth of your life experience, as we talked about at the beginning, probably some from the book, but I'm just going to throw them at you. You probably know them. They were in the book. And let's just talk about them. And let me preface that. I know I'm talking a lot, but I want to say again that 2020 was a really rough year for especially women. More women lost jobs. More women had to downsize their jobs, their career, because the kids were home. And I think it's a great time for women to think about being an entrepreneur, moving in another direction. And I think some of the things you say are inspiring in that. So I'm going to quote you. Be authentic. Be you. Be unapologetically yourself. And those who support you will come out of the woodwork. Is that a life experience, or talk to me about that?
Yeah, I think it really is. Obviously, I don't have any children. I can't relate to people having to deal with work and childcare. That is, like, kudos to everybody doing it, dads and moms alike. Like, it's just really a lot. I think with this, for people coming out of the woodwork, it is totally a personal experience. I think it's one of those things where we're all, like, subconsciously trying to maybe impress somebody or someone or some industry, and even if you're not, which is great. We all need support, and I think that could be in a literal way, where it's like, hey, let me help you like make food today, or let me just provide some moral support. Any new thing that you do, or anybody ever does, always going to be met with some form of questioning, and it could sometimes be positive, it could sometimes be debilitating, where it's like, why are you doing that? That's kind of dumb. Like, what's the point of that? I think kind of normalizing the fact that that's going to happen makes it way less intimidating, because even if the form of support that you do get is someone saying, okay, cool, and just not putting you down is a form of support in some ways, I have found that even when like people I'm close to might not overly support me, I will find that elsewhere, and to me that is just proof of, you know what, like, you can find support in different forms. And I think that's just true for anything. Like, people will come out for you if you make it known that A, you need support, and B, that you're doing something that might be a little new. I deeply do believe that, and I'm also lucky to have that. So it might be coming from a place of privilege, where I do have a big family and I have really warm friends, but when things have been difficult, I've even seen, like, you know, companies I worked for, they're smaller or bigger, like, there will be cheerleaders along the way. It's just a matter of finding them, making sure you surround yourself with them at points where you just don't feel good about yourself.
So I want to tie, because something just occurred to me as I've been listening through this show. I want to tie a few pieces together and ask you a different kind of question. The first blog, somebody serendipitously said, write about, I love bees. And then we talk about people coming out of the woodwork. How much synchronicity, serendipity, is also part of your experience, which, you know, a lot of people think of as magic, or they think of it as, you know, not something they can rely on. But I'm hearing in your story repeating patterns of timing, of synchronicity, and serendipitous events.
Yeah, that's really fair. I think it's my dad has said this before, but also just like my coworkers who I work with, and I talk about this a lot, where it's I got lucky, it's fine, I got lucky, and yeah, luck has a part of it, but I think the quote that sticks out to me is, success is when talent meets opportunity.
Right.
And the key word in this is not success, it's not talent, it's opportunity. And it's about when you get that opportunity, whether it's super small, whether it's like somebody is asking a small favor, or if it's like the tiniest opportunity, or if it's something incredible, like I had the chance to, write a blog post or write a book, take that opportunity. If that means, like, I think my pet peeve is when I see people who have an opportunity, like a job offer or a job interview, and they're like, I'm not really interested.
Right.
I'm not intending moving to that city, or that's not my field, or even like a date, like where it's like, I'm not gonna go, they're not my type. It's like, just do it.
Just do it.
It's an opportunity. And that's a big one. I think
right.
It's these opportunities that you don't take that you're always gonna look back and like, did I miss it? At flip side, also know your worth, right? It's also about, is this opportunity, am I spending time on something I don't need to? Is it in the direction I want to go? But yeah, success is when talent meets opportunity. And the only way your talent can even be progressed is if you take these opportunities, right? Like, I wasn't trained in writing, for example, but I kept writing badly until it got good enough to make me money. And like you asked, like, how much does luck have to do with it?
Though let me while you struggle with that word luck, I'm not in any way suggesting luck. I'm suggesting that magic of exactly what you said. I wasn't great at writing, I kept writing. I listened to, she likes bees, I listened to that. I had an opportunity, I took it. That's the engine behind synchronicity,
Definitely.
Right? It isn't
Definitely.
that you, I'm in no way saying you were lucky. Oh my gosh, you have a degree in chemical engineering. You weren't lucky. You worked really hard. You took that and flipped that into brand marketing. You worked really hard. You wrote a book, right? All of it. But in there, you were aware every, like an opportunity that just showed up and then
Totally.
went for it, right? Do you have an animal that can represent that for us? Can you think of one?
Oh, right. And I mean, yes. While I answer that, I totally agree with you. And I was going to say the same thing. Like, I don't know if I quite believe in luck, like as much as I want to. But I do think you can make your own. You can believe you're lucky, and that you're more open to opportunity. I think I really do believe in that, and I think maybe an animal that goes for it is maybe an animal that maybe isn't afraid to fail. I think that might be. Again, I am a vegetarian for life. I was raised Jain, which is a religion that plays a lot of nonviolence. Mm-hmm. So for me to say that I think a predator would be good is very out of character, but a lot of like these predatorial cats, like they will chase after prey. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying be violent and hurt people. I'm saying take your chance and try to catch your chances. Like, put yourself out there, like animal references, the way whales eat, they open their mouth and let things happen to them and come in. Yeah, they'll survive, and their whales are huge. That's okay, waiting for something, but at the same time, you do need to go out there and request it. You need to ask for it. You need to work for it. You need to inquire. It's not being afraid of asking a dumb question, because you need to understand there is no dumb question. It's just you don't know yet. And so, yeah, I would just, any like kind of predatorial animal that puts itself out there, knowing the risk is that if they expend energy, they're going to be tired and might not be able to hunt. Like, it's just honing in on, again, their talent and their opportunity, and that's how they'll succeed in getting their goal.
Right. I have this image of birds of prey, and and again, right, in nature, somebody, everyone's got to eat, and so this is how it happens, right? But you never, like, a bird of prey can miss whatever it's going after. Occasionally, you don't see them like whacking themselves in the head with their wing, going, "Stupid eagle, what was I thinking?" Right? They're just like, "I'm cool. I'm a bird of prey. I'll try again."
They're gonna try again.
They just try again.
They're really good at failing.
They're very good at failing. You talk about porcupines, really good at failing, right? There's just like on and on. But humans, we seem to have this notion. I grew up in a family that if you didn't have the talent, you could never do it. I'm like, well, how can I be talented? I'm a kid. I don't even know what's out there yet, right? And you said it when you said you wrote badly until you wrote better, right?
Yeah. And talent, it's a muscle. Like, unless you practice it, it's not going to get better. Mm-hmm. And I think it's even with animals, it's like, a lot of these animals, they're literally built to do what they are built to do. With people, our superpower is kind of like our minds, right? Some of us are athletes. That's definitely not me. That's their superpower, is like athletic ability. But for most of us, it's our minds. And for us to keep going is kind of, it's a stigma, right? It's very cultural too. Like certain cultures, you can't afford failure, and that makes sense. Like, certain, coming from certain backgrounds, like it's very expensive to fail at times. Mm-hmm. It's also a cultural thing. It's also an economic thing. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what is your threshold. Mm-hmm. Push your own threshold. I'm not saying sell your house tomorrow and start a business. Like, you can take baby steps, but take that step, and be okay with trusting yourself that you'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest thing, because any animals out there, they're not really, and they're like a bird. They're trying to eat food, but they're trusting themselves. Like, if I don't make it, they kind of have to, because they got to eat. So
right, and so you sort of talk about that. I'm going to put these two ideas together because we're getting close to time. You talk about being open to feedback, and then also following up. So I have to say that both of those are difficult, I think, for people, right? Because I want feedback, but could it all be good, right? It's very difficult to get a book back from the editor and it's just redlined, right, or yellow lined or whatever.
Odd story in your life, yeah.
Right, I know. And then I want to follow up with people, and it seems like there's so many people to follow up with that it gets difficult. But I think if I want good feedback, I still have to follow up and give good feedback. I see that as a circle almost, like a flow. Does that make sense to you?
I think that makes sense, totally. Feedback sucks, because because nobody likes to, it's like so stressful. Like no matter what, you know, we have like review cycles at work, and like a bit of it is a bit intimidating. It's like, oh my God. But credit where credit is due. I think the people I work with are exceptional at providing feedback. I think that's also a skill, is providing feedback that is useful. And I think once you realize that feedback is useful, you get less scared of it. So some of the feedback, you know, to be super candid, I've received is like, you know, maybe projecting more confidence or maybe being a bit more reliable. And did it sting? 100%. Like, it sucks. But when you understand that everyone's telling you this while also valuing you, it's like, okay, they're only telling this because I can handle, they think I can handle it. That is the biggest thing, is when you hear feedback, whoever is telling it to you, in many cases, is they believe you can handle it and you can progress. If you're like a lost cause, no one is going to tell you.
That's right.
No one's, yeah, they're going to be like, okay, like, you're insane. Like, I can't handle you. But if they're telling you feedback, it's because they actually think you can handle it. So I think that is one thing. And then, you know, I think that also goes into just I think following up with people is also tough because, especially as women, we don't want to be seen as annoying. Like, oh my God, like, I'm being too irritating. I'm being too pushy. No such thing. I think I really stick to the whole thing of, like, there's somebody else out there that's way less qualified than you, that is pushed hard enough, you got it. So, also, like, personal story, like, I had a project I was working on, I really wanted to work on. I had to follow up 9 times to get a response, and I got it. It felt weird, it felt awkward, but at the same time, I'm like, I can respectfully follow up via email or whatever, because I should get a response at some point. And this doesn't mean stalk people. Do not take that this way. You guys listening, don't stalk people.
No, I think it's a little bit of chutzpah. It's a little bit of, look, I'm good, and you know, tell me no and tell me, I mean, that's fine. But if it's just kind of hanging out there, I'm going to keep following up and following up and following up. So believe it or not, we have, like, you know, 3 minutes, and so I'm gonna ask, like, what keeps you inspired right now?
Keeps me inspired. Things that make me laugh. You know, I think obviously last year was tough.
Poop, right? Like
wombat poop. I mean, I think just comedy. Comedy really inspires me because I think it's one of those things where, like, it's just very nerdy, but I'm just so thrilled that, like, you know, year after year after year, things are made and produced that make me laugh in different ways. And, like, it's such a creative and fun field. So any creative writing, whether it's like Saturday Night Live or a sitcom or a funny book, comedy, like the way, even like dark comedy, like this last year was tough, but just that capacity of the human mind to find humor. Humor is so unique to our species. Totally inspires me. Also, very literal level, throwing parties. Like, I'm so excited to do that. It's so fun. It literally is so inspiring for me to be like, okay, like, I threw my best friend's bachelorette party. Like, okay, we're vaccinated, we're ready to go. How can we be creative and have a good time? Like, I love when people gather. I love understanding what makes people tick, what makes a group, you know, different groups of people, whether or not I get along with them or whether they're my best friends, all the different way of operating. I love nerding out on just, like, how do I create a cool party and how do I organize it? So it's also something to look forward to. I think, humor and groups of people.
So tell people how to find your humor, because you've got a whole, which we didn't even talk about, but tell people how to find that and how to find you.
Yeah, you can find me. I'm very much on the internet. I'm an attendant of the internet. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram. It's just Ronster Monster, so RAANSTER Monster. And then if you want to check out Bus Class News, I've been a bit quiet on it lately. I've been focusing on other things, but that's just busclass.com, FUSSclass.com. Some funny articles for the day, and my Twitter is just me retweeting ridiculous things. So
I love your Instagram. I love your Twitter. I follow you on both. And if you are listening, so thank you, Rani, for chatting with me today. And if you're listening, we've just reached the end of the Dr. Elisa Show on KUHS Denver The Stream. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I want to thank you for continuing to join me. In 2 weeks, I have Jeff Walker on the show, who is the guy who taught everyone how to launch their businesses online. So please join me in 2 weeks for that, right here at KUHS Denver, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And until then, please stay well. But most importantly, what I wish for you is to stay a bit ignited and to stay inspired. Thank you for joining me. We should be off, even though the camera